What is better than one source of supply for a narcissist? Well, two, of course. But what is even better than that? Well, two sources or more of supply trying to outdo each other and fighting for the attention and affection of the narcissist. And that is what we call triangulation, a wonderful little tool that works very good for a narcissist when done correctly. I won't give you a definition. My intro was pretty self-explanatory. It is something that highly toxic people like narcissists use to pit two or more people against each other. Quick and painless definition. There are way deeper, wordier definitions, but I'll be honest, I'm not trying to write a psychology book. You're not trying to listen to one, so let's move on. Let's get into the more important part of all of this, which is what do narcissists get out of effectively using triangulation? Like any other tool in the narcissist's little arsenal of weapons, it does more than one thing. But firstly, triangulation makes a narcissist feel incredibly powerful and superior over other people. It makes a narcissist feel amazing when they can trick and fool people. It's a great ego boost for them. It also raises their self-esteem because they feel so in control of everything. And of course, if they can get two or more people to fight over them, how would that not boost a narc's self-esteem? This also keeps a lot of people very off balance and confused. And I've said before that narcissists need people to be confused. Confusion, which comes from gaslighting, triangulation, and the like, keeps people weaker. And in that sense of they can't seem to figure things out. They get very worn out. They get very worn down, downtrodden, and they begin to just accept the behavior of the narcissist. Triangulation is also a good love bomby devaluing tool as well, and I'll tap into that a little bit more in a minute. What I want to say here is that triangulation is the most effective with two people or more, of course, but these people have little or no communication with each other. That is something that is morbidly fascinating about triangulation, is that we can actually be triangulated and pitted against one or more people who we have never met or that we hardly talk to, that we don't associate with at all. And I will go over the most common people who narcs just love to triangulate in just a short while. Don't forget, if you would like to talk one-on-one with a survivor, you can email BookAChatWithJess@gmail.com to set up private phone chats with me. I think it's interesting that triangulation can be done in a positive and negative way. And I say that merely for context, of course. Nothing about this is actually positive, quote unquote. However, in the beginning of the relationship, as we are being love bombed, we're being triangulated. It just seems a bit more positive. Somebody else is getting the negative side, but as we all know, that's very quickly going to change. But this can happen when the narcissist will say something to you like, you do ABCXYZ better than my ex. They never knew what they were doing. They were stupid. Or something like, my ex couldn't ABCXYZ, but you seem to have it all together. Sure, it's a smear campaign, but it's building up the idea that we're better than somebody else. That somebody else just can't match up. Trust me, again, we're going to feel what the reverse side of that feels like, and somebody else already is. When you are being built up, somebody is being torn down. This spins the web and makes it go even further than ever before. For me personally, if you tell me how much better I am, and then you tell me how everyone else is better than me, I am going to be completely triangulated and very confused. I will naturally begin to try harder. I will become upset that somebody is apparently picking up my slack and doing something I can't. And it's a great strategy, unfortunately, to build up and then very quickly flip the script. And before you know it, you're in competition with people that you don't even know. So who do they try to triangulate? There are people that are obviously easier to do this with than others. And I don't necessarily mean an easier target, but people who have certain positions in the life of the narcissist. So again, the most common people are obviously the exes. Exes get hoovered. They get a smear campaign run on them. Exes are very often triangulated, of course, with the new supply. And it happens very frequently. I believe when you have kids with this person, it also puts things over the top. I think a lot of people forget especially when they're shitting on me in my comments section talking about no contact, go no contact, you shouldn't miss them, you shouldn't do this, that, or the other, you should just quick and go no contact and move on with your life. A lot of people have children, or this is a family member, or this is a boss or a coworker, and no contact just isn't an option. And a lot of people are very ignorant, thinking that we're all in the same situation. We were in a romantic relationship, but we didn't have any ties like kids or what have you. And so we can just leave with no consequence whatsoever. And like I say, sometimes no contact isn't an option. You just have to deal with this person, and you are going to be triangulated if the narc stays in your life, whether you choose to just stay with that person or you have to because you run a business or you have kids together. When kids come into the fold and you can't just walk away, I think those are the people who get triangulated the most. Kids are often used, unfortunately, as pawns, leverage, the go-between between both parents. And I feel like they're just so high up. Kids as well as parents are on the list to be triangulated in a narcissistic situation. Let's be clear, though. We are talking about narcissists. They will try and spin things and pit anyone against another person if they think something will work out favorably for them. If they think there is something to gain, they are not going to be ruling it out in any way, shape, or form. If you get the feeling that you're being compared to someone, especially an ex or someone this person seems to idealize in some fashion, triangulation might be happening. If someone you don't really know that well is constantly being thrown into the conversation and brought up and referenced, and you feel like you need to compete with somebody for all sorts of different things, it is some sort of toxicity for sure, and it's definitely manipulation, some form of manipulation. And that's where it's important to remember things like we don't need to be in competition with anyone else, and we shouldn't be. Being in competition and comparing ourselves to other people is not practicing good self-love and good self-care. If this person that you're with, this potentially narcissistic person, is making you feel like you're not doing enough, you're not good enough, and you should do more. But oh, by the way, there's somebody else who's a saint and does it all. So why don't you just have a seat, cupcake, because somebody else can do it better? Try and cut ties if you can. I know that in every situation, that is just not possible. There are some times where you can't. Again, you have kids, you're doing things. I'm realizing life doesn't always happen exactly the way we want to. And sometimes we can do things and sometimes we can't. If you can't, that's where some language needs to be incorporated. I don't mean fuck or anything like that. I mean, you can say that, but not exactly what I'm going for. Basically, what can happen is you will become not fun to try to triangulate if you incorporate specific language. If you hear something like, oh, hey, my new girlfriend took me shopping last weekend and got me all this stuff, and you never did anything like that, your response can be something like, hey, good for you. You're lucky. Really flat, really gray rock. You really can't be bothered. You don't give a shit. A lot of this will sound like gray rock because it pretty much is. You are refusing to give that response. You are not allowing yourself to get caught up in a web where you feel compared and contrast and you have to do something. Or, my new boyfriend has a lot of money, more than you ever did, and he takes care of me. I don't have to worry about anything like I did when I was with you because he is an adult. That's where you just go, hey, right on. Good for you. Not, I'll take care of this for you, or he sucks, or whatever the case may be. There's no reason to argue and go back and forth and feel that little tug that we feel where we have to try to outdo somebody. No, if somebody else is taking care of them so well, good, go for it. Keep going. Frankly, it's more work that I don't have to do. Or, my ex always used to plan dinner and you never do. Why can't you just be smart and plan ahead like they do? A great response is, hey, I do what I do. If you're unhappy, you can always make a plan for dinner. I don't know why everything's got to be on me. None of those statements or anything else that might get told to you, none of it means you have to do anything. You don't. You can shut them down. Simple gray rock. That's nice. Good for you, muffin. And just go on about your business. You don't have to play into these games. Remember who you are. your worth and your value. And if they are so unhappy with something that you're doing or not doing, then they can let you know accordingly, like an adult, and bring things to your attention. We don't have to jump into action because somebody doesn't like something that we do. Sometimes things like guilt and shame get thrown at us by people that are highly narky and very toxic. We don't have to do anything. I promise you, survivor. Triangulation sucks, and it happens to so many people. It's a very popular tool, but you don't have to play the game. Leave your thoughts on triangulation down in the comments if you would like to do that. Is this something that you have to deal with or that you did have to deal with? And how did you handle it? Sometimes it's good to tell other survivors, leave a comment and tell other people how you were handling it, because then some people get some inspiration, some ideas, and even some support on maybe a situation they're going through right now. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.